Awesome. I just got back from Lagos.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
I spent
Christmas
30% Berlin.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay. We should tell me more about it.
It was an adventure. All right. Well, welcome everybody to our latest panel from Digital Davos. Thanks, ChainBLX, for organizing. I'll be monitoring. I'm watching every move. Moderating is what I meant to say. My name is David Doss with CKC Fund. We're a digital asset investment fund that collaborates with ChainBLX. And with that, I'd like to welcome all of our esteemed panelists. If you could please introduce yourselves briefly.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for having me on this panel. My name is Ronnie Adegbabi. I'm the consultant of Alpha Clinical Limited.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me. I'm Michele Soavi, CEO and Chief Sustainability Officer at Impascope.
I'm Dan.
Like to start with the person all the way at the end, so that we kind of have symmetry here. So in terms of building this next web with a purpose of more community, more inclusion, Karl, what do you see as the role of AI in terms of building a more adaptive internet? And how do you see next generation of social networks, data, and intellectual property playing into that?
Well,
Terms of adaptability. Ronnie, what do you see as the role of these technologies, Web3, artificial intelligence, and beyond, in fostering more inclusive systems and more inclusive networks?
Okay. Yes, so AI, as Karl said, is here to stay, and it's staying for good. And from a research landscape, I would say it's going to help us to fast track the drug development process, because we can have information from the real world evidence and use it as a stimulus to be able to plan effective trials that would help us to advance the clinical development. And so as a result of that, we're including the rest of the world, we're including patient from an external point of view, we're including healthcare professional based on the data they provide. We do analytics, and the analytics can help us to make derivative clinical research moving forward.
Wonderful. Well, so and in terms of all of this building, ultimately the building will need to happen on platforms. Danny, curious about your perspective. You know, working within the Filecoin platform about the opportunities that you see and that you are helping various communities and various companies to build in terms of a next generation, more inclusive web. In terms of just building off of, well, and by the way, I love that optimistic pessimism about the next wave of scandals. Yeah, it's it's yeah, yeah. So always preparing for the next wave of scandals. So, but to your point about realigning incentives and in doing so in a way that is more representative of more groups, Tristan, I'm curious to get your perspective on how you see the next generation of the web impacting longer term economic resilience, in particular for marginalized groups. And how do you see that playing out the same or differently when considering marginalized groups in, let's say, more emerging markets versus more established markets?
what I see very important in this discussion, underlying, the fact that there are people world, that don't have an identity to health services, you don't have access to financial services. So from that perspective, I think that, localized identity that can be used along many different platforms, that's really useful, that's really important. And on the other hand, it's something I've been working on and studying as well, the intersection, to bring traceability where solutions, because I've choose have AI the how we output I block basic. It's there and it's there for in one way. The blockchain layer low can create the
And yes, so to your point, yes, our industry, the FDA, it's an highly regulated industry. And the point I wanted to bring out is that every sector is a community on its own. So we in the pharmaceutical industry or healthcare, we're a community of healthcare professional, patient advocacy group, the regulators. And for us to be able to have a very good legislation, it would involve increasing awareness and the community coming together to be educated as to what the expectations are, and also to be educated as to what should be in the legislation. Because sometimes, to your point, the FDA, they don't know it all, but we need that education to be able to get to legislation that would help us to move things forward quicker.
Wonderful. Well, so as a last kind of lightning round question for everyone, we have so many different minds from different industries, different countries as well. I'll play a little bit of like a game. The reg for 2025. What is the regulatory body that you're most interested in sort of the developments around? What is the economy that you are most excited about seeing make progress in terms of building the next web? And then from an investment perspective, what is it that you are seeing as the most exciting space or kind of vertical or niche for inflow of capital this year? Let's maybe start with Ronnie, since
Repeat this again.
yeah, so yes, so it's like a very overly complicated MFK, like a regulator, economy, and vertical for investment. Yes, so regulator, economy, investment, vertical.
Okay. So from a regulatory point of view, the EMEA, which covers Europe, and also the FDA and other. And what we've seen is that the other regulatory bodies follow the EMEA and the FDA. So if they get it right, majority of other regulatory agency will get it right as well. From an economic point of view, I think my wish would be for to be a global economy, so everybody really prospers. And in terms of the next innovation, I think I attended the session yesterday in terms of the brain house and how one of the panelists said that the Western world is becoming too complicated, and as a result of that, to be able to get innovation done can be a bit of a struggle. And so we're going to a less complicated continent or country where we're able to easily adapt innovation. And so to have an open mind to make things less complicated and to make it more seamless in order for us to advance innovation. That's the way.
Well, Michele, so regulator, economy, investment, vertical.
I think I will try to bring a different perspective, if you don't mind. Okay. And I would be pretty much interested in seeing some kind of duality that somehow it's coming up to be. So on the European Union side, you have overregulation, whereas on the United States, it's becoming more and more the Wild West. And I think from that perspective, it would be nice to find yourself somewhere in the middle, and it's probably somewhere there that you will find safe playing space, knowing that I don't know, I'm Italian, and as an European I consider myself we are somehow over-regulating things and limiting development. But on the other hand, I'm not sure that having a wild west is the correct approach from this perspective. And again, as I see quite a lot of development at the intersection between blockchain and AI, I think that some kind of guidance from that perspective should be useful.
Danny?
Sure. So I've seen the regulator
Okay. Well, so yeah, a regulatory and economic perspective, I think what we are really largely looking to do as a digital asset investment manager is to look across countries. And so what we see is, Cayman, for example, continuing to be sort of a neutral territory, sort of ground zero for a lot of innovation that then pulls out to other countries. And so that's one theme. But certainly, I see a lot of eyes looking to the U.S., both in terms of, let's say, imitation as well as differentiation in this cycle around of there are likely to be a lot of changes. And with those changes, some people, some regulatory bodies, some economies around the world will mimic this, and then others will differentiate for political and or for economic reasons to basically create alternatives and to basically provide different types of upside. So with that, I think that there will be certainly some high potential for let's say that velocity of regulatory change continuing as Danny put it. Excited to see how that interplays, and also really just excited to see how people vote with their capital on a lot of these issues. Where at the end of the day, it's the as a global economy. A lot of these ideas can sound interesting in theory, but then when it actually comes to people and organizations putting their investment dollars behind it, sometimes we see different behavior. So looking to continue to monitor the kind of differential between what is said and what is done, what is invested in 2025. With that, thank you all very much for joining. Appreciate everyone's time, especially in Davos, where time is at a premium. Really enjoyed hearing everyone's insights. Thank you to our audience, both live and future, and then thank you, yeah, future, and then. Well, yes, as so they're streaming, yes, and then also thank you to Karl, ChainBLX, for Digital Davos for organizing the event as well. Alrighty.
Thank you.